Well, a huge demonstration is being held this hour against the NFL's Washington Redskins. Protesters are calling for the franchise to change its name because they say it's offensive to Native Americans. Thousands marched to the home field of the Minnesota Vikings. That's who the Redskins are playing today. The protest movement has been gaining public attention for several years now, but this is the first major rally of this NFL season. Well, our next guest is part of those protests you just saw. Joe Horse-Capture is the associate curator at the National Museum of the American Indian, and he traveled from Washington to be part of the Change the Mascot rally. That's what it's being called today, and he joins us now over the phone from Minneapolis. So, sir, we're seeing some pictures of the large crowds, and it looks like a lot of people came out. Can you describe the scene? What's it like being on the ground there? What's the mood?
Well, the protest started over a little while ago. During the whole time of the protest, it was absolutely great. We had Native Americans from all over the country. We had First Nations from Canada come down. We had non-Native people from all different backgrounds all come together to stand against this real important issue.
Joe, can you explain for us the negative connotation of the Washington team name?
Well, it really depends on which side of the debate you stand on. One side said, well, Native Americans use that term as a reference for themselves. Another side say, no, it was a term that was used for to reference scalps. But the fact of the matter is, the historical reference is not really important. What really is important is, it's a dictionary-defined racial slur, and it should not be used. I mean, I find it odd that here in the United States, Native Americans are the only race of people that are used as mascots. And I think this is 2004, 2014, if I recall, and it is completely outrageous.
So, Joe, what do you say to those people, and I'm sure you must have come across some today, who argue the Redskins name simply refers to a football team and that it's all in good fun and it doesn't represent Native American people?
Well, you can't redefine a racial slur and put it in the context of just a football game. It's just grossly offensive to many Native American people. Some would argue the vast majority of Native American people. And for me, it was personally important to come down and be part of this. I came down on my own time, and it's the craziest thing that you've ever heard. And oftentimes the argument is, well, we're honoring you. Well, usually when one is honored, the other person sort of accepts that honor. And I can certainly say that unequivocally, the vast majority of Native people do not accept this honor. Right. And Native American culture isn't available for America's fun and games.
So, Joe, do you feel that your arguments are being heard? Do you feel like you're gaining any traction? Because I had seen that the Redskins team owner says he'll never change the name, and he says he has the official backing of the NFL. What do you say to that?
Well, certainly with protests like this, there's been several newscasters, sportscasters who refuse to use the name here in the United States. There are several newspapers who refuse to use the name. But at the end of the day, it's really a moral question. And I honestly believe that I don't think the owner, Dan Snyder, will change it for a moral issue. Instead, he'll change it for a financial issue. And there is a couple of lawsuits going through the courts. One of them, which they've appealed, is they may lose our trademark status. The other one is an FCC lawsuit that's saying, well, all these other derogatory names for races of people are not allowed to be aired on television or on radio. The R word is certainly part of that, and the FCC is looking at that. So I think at the end of the day, when it changes, and it will change probably because of pocketbook.
That's an interesting point. Joe, I'm running out of time here, but I just want to ask you quickly, what message do you want the protesters to convey to the public today?
Now, this is just not a Native American issue. It's a human rights issue. And we all need to come together to do what is right for everyone. Because The way that I was brought up, and particularly not only my family, but also within our culture, is we respect all people from all races. I'd be standing, if this was an African-American issue, I'd be standing with them as well. We all need to come together to make this right so we can respect everyone.
All right, Joe, I want to thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us today. We really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's Joe Horse-Capture speaking to us from the protests in Minnesota today.